All right. So welcome everybody. This is Bitcoin Cash Ignite, the Ignite live stream. This week we're talking about Zimbabwe liquidity. I'm here with Gray, Kusha. I'm George. We may have some other people join us later. Kusha, what's tell us about the topic of the show, maybe, and then maybe Gray can introduce himself.
Yes, the topic of the show is pretty timely. It is about the news going on in Zimbabwe, where the stock exchange was banned, and mobile money also seems to be limited and banned, and also blamed for many things, so that people right now are not really able to make transactions or to get out to safer assets. And yeah, we wanted to talk about how we could find a solution. I mean, there are many people who tried, in this case, finding a solution by getting into the what's the word? The bourses, the exchanges.
Stock exchange.
Stock exchanges, sorry. Yes, and which is also not possible even for smaller cases, for small businesses or for personal individuals. But even now, even in the big sense, it doesn't even work because it's now banned. So with cryptocurrency as some kind of alternative stock exchange, maybe we can find a way to give people, to mitigate some of that, because the inflation in Zimbabwe is again very high, and the currency is depreciated a lot. And everybody in Bitcoin talks about the Zimbabwean dollar from news, the history about it, with the $1 million or $1 billion bill, and it seems to go right back into this situation. And we had some people invited, like Terence from Zimbabwe, who is also a new contributor, and Kojo Dougan, who is from South Africa, who is a broker. And maybe
should we let them introduce themselves?
Yeah, I wanted to just start with Terence. I think is the first, and yes, Terence, tell us a bit about yourself. Let's make a mic check first. A second. Can you hear us? Or can we hear you?
Yeah, well, I can hear you, all of you, but they don't know about me.
Yeah, ideally you would. Yeah, it would be great if we had video or maybe a photo avatar. But yeah, don't worry about it too much. So tell us about yourself, Terence.
Oh, well, I've been writing about crypto, I think, for 2 years now. Before that, I was writing a lot about the economy in Zimbabwe. I'm sure you can relate to that. Between 2005 and 2008, we had the worst kind of inflation. As Kusha mentioned, our inflation reached a level of billions of stuff, and we had the currency $100 trillion. So it gave us a lesson. I mean, we understand fiat in a different way, like most people. So when Bitcoin came along or cryptocurrency came along, it was, for me, it made a lot of sense, because in the past, what had destroyed our own currency was overprinting and a lack of discipline. So,
can you speak up? We can barely hear you, Terence. Try to speak up, would you? Yeah, maybe put your mouth closer to the microphone.
Is this okay now?
That's a little bit better.
Okay, no, that's fine. So I was saying, we have experienced inflation in a way that most people never understand, because we had to use different kinds of cash. We kept changing our currency. So after 2008, in 2009, when we dollarized, we adopted the American dollar, things got a little bit stable. but soon we have to change again, then we are back to the currency. So the problems that you see now have got everything to do with the way currency is managed. We overpay money most of the time. There is a lack of discipline. So my interest in cryptocurrency stems on the fact that cryptocurrency is a fixed supply. Number one. Number two, you cannot manipulate or you cannot add or counterfeit the currency. So in that way, people have got confidence in cryptocurrency.
Okay.
It's unfortunate.
So you're a writer, right? You write about crypto.
Yes, I'm writing about crypto. I've been writing for Hardc0re, after blockchain media, and now recently Bitcoin.com.
Okay, and where you're based in Zimbabwe?
I'm in Harare right now. That's where I live.
Harare is in Zimbabwe, right? Is that right?
Harare is the capital of Zimbabwe.
Okay, very good, very good. All right, so we're also joined by Gray. Gray, can you tell us a little bit about yourself real quick?
Yeah, guys, what's going on? My name is Gray, and I'm based in Africa as well. And I've been in the crypto space for over 6 years now. And I own a small crypto exchange in Malawi, and I own cryptouniversity.co.za, which is one of the largest cryptocurrency training platforms for investors and traders worldwide. And I also have a YouTube channel called Hardc0re Crypt0, where we discuss crypto, especially trading and all types of trading, derivatives, whether it's P2P, OTC, and just hustling in general. So pretty much.
Awesome. Excellent. Great to have you on the show. And Kojo, can you tell us a little bit about yourself real quick?
Hi, yes. So my name is Kojo, and basically in technology. I'm in the payments and integration sector, but I do currency and FX trading as a side thing. Obviously, so I've done. I'm not a core crypto person, but obviously it comes with the currency trading bit. So that's my foray into crypto. Otherwise, really my background is into finance and banking, economics, and technology around it.
Awesome. Okay, cool. So what would you say, Kusha, is like the main topic or the problem or the challenge that we want to talk about today?
I just wanted to ask Kojo from his perspective again, maybe because also then we hear it better from his perspective what he knows about or the experience with Zimbabwe and the problem that is going on. But the challenge in my opinion is how the people need dollars. I mean, if they had if they could take cash in dollars, everything would be fine. If they could save their money that depreciates every day, everything would be, at least something would be fine. Let's see. It would be mitigate a big effect. So there might be some national big established companies that accept the depreciating currency, probably because they also have deals again with the government that they get some money, in another way. But it also, I just heard myself, so got out. So the idea is, how do we get something similar to a stable dollar, which is used like cash, and give it to and make it available to people in Zimbabwe? Very straightforward, actually. Maybe there is no way at all, but maybe there is with having an OTC trader, a media guy, and and also someone who, both are OTC traders, and someone who is in established legacy finance, to find a way to make it happen that people can maybe get USDH, for example, to at least save it. For example, forwarding payments that go to one of those companies, and because of and taking the value that is represented there to get USDH savings. So I was thinking about it. I'm still, it is an overwhelming topic, but I thought we could get step by step into how, at least what we would need or what is missing to come up with a solution. So I wanted to ask again, Kojo, what he says or knows about the stuff in Zimbabwe, and also the questions he had when he was reading about it, and as a broker or who is in finance, what are the points why you wouldn't touch it, or where you would be interested to say, like, okay, if I had this, I would start helping, or I would start working on this and try something there. That would be my question to Kojo.
So for me, I guess it's again, it's a finance and economics thing that comes to mind. It's about stability, regardless of the currency. Even if you flipped it and it wasn't dollar, and it was a Zim currency that was appreciating in value, and the dollar was depreciating, then it will be the reverse. So yes, I'm not from Zimbabwe, but the little I know is basically cash, and currency is cash is expensive. You actually have to pay for cash, so it adds a cost to it, and there's what you call time value of money. I mean, I'm going back a bit, but definitely I'll come to the topic. So you need to obviously address the time value of money, and what it can do for you. $100 today, you'd hope that 10 days, X days, Y days, you can do something with it. But then if in less than even 24 hours, 48 hours, or a week, the $100 in real terms actually becomes like what, $20 or even $1, in terms of purchasing power, then you have serious issues. And I guess that's what's happening in Zimbabwe. So really, the thing to do is, whether it's crypto, fiat, whatever currency, make sure there's some stability in value. And obviously the risk you would have when it comes to an economy where there's hyperinflation and hyper depreciation is the high risk of always the regulator or some central authority stepping in and causing some disruption in any way. It's always there, because that's what basically they are paid to do. So yes, the opportunity for an alternate currency or wealth making venture is there. It's high. Anywhere there's a high risk, there's also high returns. But then also the high risk is emphasized that in such an economy, the regulator can step in at any time because of any change in government, any change in mind, as we've seen, to try and amend things, either correct it or amend things. Obviously, there's been a huge gap which has caused this. So when they start working on it, it creates challenges for everyone. on both sides, even for crypto, because there's quite a bit of uncertainty. Will they permit it or will they not?
So there's a question in the chat. Maybe we can direct this one to Gray. The question is from Kieran. He says, besides price stability, what's the biggest challenge that people on the ground face with using Bitcoin Cash?
I think on the ground, it's just that I don't think well, I think the question is assuming that there are people who want to use Bitcoin Cash to begin with. There is none. So the issue is that the adoption rate is very low. It's like you need people to learn about this stuff, because once they learn it, they actually get really interested, because it gets you into a whole different world. You realize that, hey, now I can do business globally. If you have an online business and you're able to send money around with your friends and family. So people on the ground in Zimbabwe, I would think that it should be easier for them to adopt Bitcoin Cash, because they're already used to a cashless economy. They use mobile money to pay for everything. So the challenge is not so much of, it's not a technical challenge, it's just an adoption problem.
So you would say maybe there needs to be more awareness raised, more marketing of Bitcoin Cash if we want to see
Yes,
it
there
used
should
more?
be products, there should be a group of people, a lot of entrepreneurs that could probably be selling certain items, but accepting cryptocurrency, Bitcoin Cash, as a payment method. Because right now in Zimbabwe, what has led to them banning their, the mobile payment platforms is because people did not want to receive, they were selling their sort of the digital payment money for US dollars, hard cash, right? So nobody wants the Zimbabwean dollar that's issued by government, because there's no trust. So the best thing would be, looking at what are the necessities that people actually care about buying. That's food, sugar, cooking oil, gas, or whatever. If say some gas station would say, look, we'll be taking Bitcoin Cash as a payment method, that would be a big deal.
I see. Kojo or Terence, did you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, if I may. So basically, any currency adoption and acceptability has a lot to do with liquidity. Again, even if you send me money via mobile on an app or any means, and in any currency, even again, let's use a US dollar as a currency, and I could not convert it easily for whatever I need to do immediately, whether it's for, like as Terence mentioned, whether for sugar, even basic stuff. As long as I can't convert it when I need it, again, either because there's no merchant to help me to accept it as a mode of payment, or anybody to help me convert it into something I can hold, then you have issues. So obviously there needs to be a lot of education, and from what I've seen, it's some think it's like an investment. If I have X amount of BTC today and I keep it, tomorrow it will double in value. It's not like a T-bill investment, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, I could see, BTC, people generally treat that as a speculative instrument. Absolutely.
No, that is not true, by the way.
You don't think so?
In Africa, I own an on-the-ground exchange and a P2P platform. I trade on Paxful, local Bitcoins, local.bitcoin, and all that. And in Africa, majority of my customers, they don't hold any Bitcoins. They buy Bitcoin to make payment. So this whole HODL thing is very Western, or I would say America and Europe. Because I know people from Russia and Eastern Europe who, they will tell you the same, that people buy Bitcoin to actually make payment for something. in some cases, they would buy so to invest in a platform. Unfortunately, most of the things that they want to invest in are scams, but they know that to them, Bitcoin is a tool for simply making a transaction.
Indeed. I mean, this is
Yeah.
oh yeah, Terence, you can.
I wanted to chip in there. I think I also agree that we see cryptocurrency as a form of liquidity or paying, in addition to us, protecting our values from inflation. I'll give you an example. We have a number of Nigerians here. Unfortunately, we don't have exchanges and the formal stuff, but we have Nigerians that send money home. So what they are doing now is there is an application known as Yellow Card. You actually buy your BTC or whatever cryptocurrency, then you send to an address to that application. It converts to the Nigerian Naira. So this is actually why they want Bitcoin, not that they buy it for purposes of it's going up in value maybe after 2 or 3 days. They actually use it. It's a utility thing because of restrictions on foreign currency movement and stuff. So I think I agree with the guys that we see it as a means of actually making payment and a store of value.
And Bitcoin, for its even though it is slow or costly to pay, is still better than the most other payment systems. I mean, it is borderless. It has no fees. It has fees, but it has lower fees than probably other payment services, and no limitations. So if you want to pay something which is more than, let's say, 500 euro worth, you have to use Bitcoin. If you buy a car, I remember Gray saying this. If you buy anything that is of bigger value, then you already have your daily limit, and it's problematic in that sense. So this is also why if someone might think about why don't they use BCH? It's because BTC is still better than the other payment services. But it doesn't mean that we cannot start educating and start telling people like we got something that is even better, because it is doing what Bitcoin used to do, being fast, cheap, reliable. And for payments, we have focused on this issue. So, and if there is an investment idea, there is still the chance to invest in it. So it can still be a speculative asset as a second form. The question now is, how do we get people in Zimbabwe to not to accept it? I mean, let's say we bring the awareness and they are interested. How can we sell it to them? Because if they give us now the national currency, which is depreciating, then we are the suckers. So what can we do? What are the forex traders? Where are the people who take money like this and still can put it somewhere else and still make money or not lose money? I think there must be some kind of institution that is just like the government sets rates and forces people to accept those rates. There is some guy probably that takes this money and can give it out for special rate, for exactly those rates, even though it's in real not as valuable. This is what I'm guessing. So I would ask again, Terence or Kojo.
Well, if you like me to come in here, I'll tell you this. We've got a large diaspora population, and according to government statistics, the diaspora guys contribute almost they are number 2 in terms of foreign currency inflows into the country. So they actually bring in more. There's a lot of money that comes into Zimbabwe informally. I'll tell you, for instance, Bitcoin is not sold for Zimbabwean dollars. It's sold for US, period. The Zim dollar is for small transactions, but for the bigger transactions, everyone knows if you want to buy a car, it has to be US. If you're selling your house, you use US. So how it works in Zimbabwe. There's a lot of foreign currency circulating around outside the formal system, and this is what government is trying to ban things like mobile money and stuff. It's the only way that people can, make transactions.
The quality is your internet connection doesn't seem to
foreign
be
currency. So I would say you don't have to worry too much.
This is
So
sadly always a problem.
there's a news article, right, where mobile money was banned in Zimbabwe.
Where that much,
isn't that right?
Much of a problem. The
Yeah,
biggest problem in
Terence,
Zimbabwe,
we're not
because
hearing all of you. We're not here. You've got a bad
This
connection.
is,
So wasn't there an article that mobile money was banned in Zimbabwe?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There was. I made a video about it. It's probably Terence can jump in more on that, but yeah,
so isn't that an opportunity? That's an opportunity for us, isn't it? So how do we get crypto solutions in there that don't rely on broken old BTC with its high fees and its the whole fee market?
I can
maybe even utilize a stable coin like USDH. Does anybody have thoughts on that?
Yeah. Look, the problem, the opportunity has always been there. The problem is the crypto community is obsessed with the online stuff. They just think that everything is online. But then different economies have different problems and different kind of behaviors. And you need to look at those and think of, okay, how can we make this work? So if you want to cater a solution for Zimbabwe or for any country that shares the same model at the moment, then you would have to create something that fits, that's designed for that first. So there should be some environment specific solutions, because just taking a certain wallet and deploying it in Zimbabwe doesn't always work, because the payment methods are different, the consumer behaviors are different, and you have things like identity is a problem as well. So you need to find ways to actually go around all this and within some regulatory model as well. Because
why within a regulatory model? Why do you say that?
If you're dealing with people's money, you need identity, and you're not gonna do the American way of identity, or what is your residential address, your ID number, because you find that most people resides in environments where they don't have that kind of model.
But so crypto is a bearer instrument. So why is identity so important?
Well,
or how do you see identity working for a crypto situation?
That's a good question. So imagine this. You're, like I told you before, the users of cryptocurrencies here, they don't care about the philosophy of Bitcoin and all the other BS that we care about. They just want to make a transaction. And if you have to now, the challenge comes when you now have to convince people to safely store their coins, back it up, A, B, and C, when the current worldwide, the current customer behavior is that they sign up with the platform, they trust it, everything is done on there, and someone is some sort of a custodian, right? If something goes wrong, they know who to point out to.
Sure. That's a challenge. That's definitely a challenge. But
and to do that within the regulatory model.
So how do we? Yeah, but why the regulatory model?
If
the regulatory model is what gave us all these problems. Why are we going to make crypto fit into the government rule book?
For the solution to work, it has to be regulated.
Nah, I don't agree with that at all. Why do you say that?
Let me come in here, if I may.
Yes, sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So again, back to the education thing I was talking about, and you see, for where I'm coming from, when you mention crypto, first thing that comes to mind is actually Bitcoin. And I was talking about situations where people have sort of purchased Bitcoin and just held on to it, thinking it was, for lack of a better word, a scam that somebody did here, right? And it flopped. So there is some resistance to at the regulatory level, because again, the education about the whole crypto hasn't been made properly. So if you have advocates who can actually give insights as to what crypto is, that it's beyond BTC, for example, and like you mentioned, USDH, which are stable coins and actually as means of transactions, and will enable and facilitate cross-border, the advantages. Then one, you've passed, you've overcome the regulatory challenges. Identity, I don't see it really as an obstacle, because even in the first place, to acquire it, to purchase it, you've gone through the process to trade it. You've gone through the process of being onboarded at some point, by someone. Because then what happens is, really, if you don't have that regulatory approval, you're sort of trading in a black market, sort of.
And what's wrong with that? I mean, if you look at local.bitcoin.com, there's no KYC, there's no regulatory approval.
Yeah, but look, man, the problem is scaling.
Yes, so that's why the authorities will come down heavy, and
not on local.bitcoin.com, they won't.
No, hear me out. That's the thing. When somebody says, okay, no more mobile money, or tax on mobile money, then you begin to wonder where they're coming. You really need to get a good understanding of where they're coming from. You and I may get it, but another person doesn't, and that's where the issue is.
But also scaling wise, I mean, you cannot scale with a local Bitcoins model,
Oh, of course you can. You absolutely can. Yes.
Well, so
why not?
What else can you do with local Bitcoin?
Let's say we have
you can buy, you can sell products and services. It's a marketplace.
Do you use local Bitcoins?
I have used localbitcoins.com since probably 2013.
Okay, so
but I'm talking about local.bitcoin.com.
Yeah, local.bitcoin.com. I mean, let's say all the P2P platforms. Managing all those things is work. You need integration of services and platforms, because you cannot completely just create, expect a new model to just work on its own. Because people want to pay bills. That's what they care about. How do I pay my water bills? How do I pay for school fees? How do I pay for that? And there's already systems that are set for that. So to make cryptocurrency work and integrate with all those other services, which is where the money is, by the way, right? If a father, collects money from his salary, he's worried about paying rent, paying for the bills, paying for school fees. So you need to think about all those things, because that's what makes.
I don't see how that connects with local.bitcoin.com and scaling. I don't see how those two things connect.
Yeah, sure. So what I'm trying to say is that the way payments are processed, or for you to actually get Bitcoin, the amount of awareness that you need, number one, to be familiar with these tools, it has to be higher than the average person, right?
So we need more education, you're saying?
Education, but also a
Absolutely.
trust model. People like trust. That's why
the whole point of crypto is to be trustless.
Yeah, but people like trust. People like trust because of the convenience of the trust that gives it. We have to come up with something, and we actually can come up with something that gives us the same user experience. But because you are actually right. My father, I told him about local.bitcoin that it is trustless, and he was like, "No, I want to trust a custodian." And I was like, "No,
but that's why the escrow is there."
Yes, of course. They don't even think about that there is something like this possible. This is something.
That's just an education problem, though. It's not like we should turn back the clock and undo the trustlessness.
What I'm saying is that it is right that people think they want trust because of all those issues, but now we educate them, or not only that, we make this escrow as easy as it would be as trust. If you go to local.bitcoin, it's fine, but it's still not 100% like using a custodian. And we cannot, and we can, especially like if we say we are open for business, we have people, traders who can use this as a tool. This is true. In a small scale, they can use it and create a market and all of that. But wouldn't it be nicer if we also have people who have a lot of liquidity that use the same route as the P2P people? So the P2, so for now we just have like small traders, small OTCs, one guy with maybe 10K making a market on local.bitcoin, if we have them, which is already a hard thing to find. But what if we get someone, who has the millions and who has all the money and who is interested in this, to use the same tools and automatize and streamline those tools? Because if someone has this money, he won't go clicking through local.bitcoin like a normal user. It should have been an API built together with bitcoin.com or taken from bitcoin.com. So this tool that we have right now is really just made from the user experience or from the API to be small scale.
I guess I don't understand how any of this feeds back into the claim that local.bitcoin.com doesn't scale.
Yeah. Look, I'll answer that question for you. So, look, you might think that local.bitcoin is perfectly fine for a guy like you and I, but on both ends, whether you're the buyer or the seller of crypto, things gets even. You need regulation when things go wrong. I can tell you that.
No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. Why do you want to bring the government into this? The reason that there is so much economic difficulty in the developing world is precisely because of the regulations that local governments put into place, which stop the formation of capital and erect artificial barriers between people who want to engage in commerce.
Yeah,
there is no reason to involve the government more than what is absolutely the bare minimum necessary. Don't you think?
In most cases, it's not that the regulation is what's wrong. Is the people who implement the regulations can be corrupt and the regulation is not followed. It becomes selective.
So we just need to put the right people into power. Is that what you're saying?
No, my point is, look, evolution does not take 2 days. So cryptocurrency, even if you integrate it with the legacy system, it still has points of decentralization and custodianship to the individual, right? So you need to expose people to those small parts of cryptocurrency, and then they start growing with it. You cannot expect someone who has never used these assets to simply immediately put his $1 million into it and start.
Oh, absolutely. But I still don't understand how that relates to your claim.
Right. So it's just that we need to tiptoe around how people function, the human nature currently, how people function, and then we need to evolve with them. You cannot expect, because right now the model that it's being proposed in crypto is that everybody just have to convert to this, and you know what? It's just not going to happen.
Everyone just has to what?
Everybody just has to convert to how we expect cryptocurrency to work. But
crypto has to change. There has to be a meeting in the middle, or we have to go farther than the middle.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I'm saying. So even the data disagree with what the crypto philosophy talks about, because the most popular wallets are custodian wallets, right? Coinbase, Luna, and all these other wallets. So even though
those aren't really wallets, though, those are exchanges.
Yeah, but they are used for.
Yeah, but it's not a wallet. It's not correct to call that a wallet. That's an exchange.
No, it's both. It is. You can use a Coinbase wallet in Zimbabwe without using the exchange function.
Okay, but if it's custodial because it's just an account on Coinbase, then that's not a wallet. That's just an account in an exchange. It's not proper to call that a wallet.
People rather choose this, and
that's fine, but that doesn't make it a wallet. That's absolutely not a wallet.
Yeah, but how do we get them to use a wallet is the question. How do we get them
I still want to know why Gray thinks local.bitcoin.com can't scale.
Well, no, I'm not saying local.bitcoin can scale. I'm saying the P2P model cannot easily scale, because even for you to deal on these platforms, you actually have, if somebody has to upload your receipt and A, B, and C, there is no functions to plug it into a banking environment or to plug it into a mobile money environment where everything becomes automated. There's just too much risk when you're dealing with.
Okay, so you're saying it can scale, it just needs to be a little more user-friendly. Is that maybe have better UX?
Well, the current UX has been solved. Local.bitcoin has the best UX right now, right?
No, but what you're talking about, the seamlessness and automation, those are UX.
I'm saying that the current model is not easily applicable in the legacy system, and that is a problem.
And no, that's outstanding for me. I think that's great. We are not going to get where we need to go with centralized liquidity. You know, like these centralized exchanges. That's a 1.0 model. 2.0 is going to be peer-to-peer liquidity, like local.bitcoin.com or local cryptos, and I think DEXs as well.
And then I think you should look into what's happening in South Africa to understand this better. You know, because I can tell you one thing: in South Africa, it's easier to get Bitcoin than it is in America. I know when I introduce people to buy crypto for the first time, they use Coinbase or whatever. They take time to get verified and to withdraw their Bitcoin. It gets withheld, or they used something like PayPal. They get banned. There's just so many bad things that happen. It's not that easy. In South Africa, I can sign up right now, get verified, connect my bank account with my cryptocurrency exchange, deposit funds immediately, buy the Bitcoin, and send it. Right? I can send maybe up to $1 million.
So this is using
Bitcoin,
Coinbase,
like
you're saying?
In the United States. Sorry?
This is using Coinbase, you're saying?
This is using Luno, a South African exchange.
Okay. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah.
So why did that work? Because Luno has been working closely with the government to educate them about how these things work, and also sort of help on how they could potentially regulate it, because they were clueless about how they can regulate it. And that's exactly why they were coming so hard on crypto, and you have seen other countries completely banning it. Because also, when you say about lack of education, you're not only talking about the user, you also need to think about the regulators. And also, if you talk about the government, a government is not a thing. It's a group of people that are in power, right? So, we need to be careful when we discuss these matters that, we're talking about a bunch of other people. If they don't know, because you guys are the problem, we also have the problem, because I know people in government that are, hardcore crypto people. So it's just we need to find a good model, that works on both sides.
How can we actually combine the P2P model? Because I'm thinking about why cannot someone who would actually deal with licensed and regulated exchanges and Forex and whatever, not also do on the side hustle for the small person, do the same? Is it not interesting enough? Is it too complicated or not? Or I mean, just for a mission, for example, Kojo, if you hear about local.bitcoin.com, which is a non-custodial exchange, I don't know if you have heard about it, but you can easily trade, put it in an escrow, which is in a smart contract again, which is, not in custody of anyone, but moderated if there is an issue. So it can go to either one side, but not to the custodian. So wouldn't you be interested in, if you're someone who trades BTC anyway, to be a market maker right there? Or is it just too small to work on this? Because because this is just a tool, and it is something that can actually do anything that you want to do in the established world, or like the established world, but just without all the need for this is not even black market in a sense of illegal. This is just like within the framework of the regulatory bodies, saying, yeah, these are two private people who are exchanging, and no government has any, for now at least, any interest in actually regulating any of this, because when two private people exchange, it's it's the matter of privacy. It's not a matter of government. This is more about money laundering and all of this stuff. So how can someone who is not obviously not money laundering, but has enough liquidity, do this in a private manner?
I don't have a direct response for it, but I totally do agree with you. I mean, it's not money laundering. It's not black market. It's call it technology smart contracts. As a utility too, you mentioned as a utility for some sort of exchange or trade or service, you know. And yes, I totally agree with you. So really, I also don't get it really.
So maybe we should all get together one time and show what actually is behind those tools and how they can actually use. Because you know, Roger makes
exactly. So yeah, exactly. So then back to my thing about education, you know, and letting everyone know across end to end, you know, user, middle, everyone along the whole chain, know that there is an option. This is what you can do. You know, I always say, I always do the analogy like a vehicle. You could buy a Mercedes, or you could buy a Tico, you know, those minute cars with less than 0.5 cc, you know, but it's not really the price value. I'm using the vehicle analogy. It's the value of what it can do and what it does for you. If you were to drive from Miami to New York, you know, you get to see the difference between what a Mercedes could do and what the other vehicle would do. You know, come 5 years, 4 years, whatever X years down the line, even if you didn't take that long journey, you know, across states or across continents or whatever, you begin to appreciate why a Mercedes or another type of vehicle, a Lamborghini, a Porsche, costs much more than the vehicle at the bottom of the line, you know, because it can do so much more. And that's what I think needs to get across, that yes, this has a function, but the other things it can do for you for other purposes.
So I think that this has been a really good call, a really good show. You know, we've had some really good perspectives. Even though I gave you a hard time, Gray, I think you've expressed yourself very well, and you know.
Yeah, look, I think it's a good thing. It's just the different points of reference, you know, and that's exactly what the cryptocurrency.
Well, I also live in the developing world, so I don't know. I mean, not Africa, of course, but anyway. So let's.
Where do you live?
In Colombia, Medellin, Colombia, in Latin America.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's just close. Let's just close it with a question. Yeah. So focusing on the future, how do you think we can best advance Bitcoin Cash adoption in Africa?
So I would say, you know, who are the most successful with cryptocurrency in Africa? Scammers are very successful, right? They're popular. They're taking people's money. I made a video yesterday saying that, you know, one of the scam companies actually threatened to sue me because I was calling them out. You know what? Those guys have a bigger community in Africa, in South Africa alone, than probably what Bitcoin Cash has entirely across the continent, right? Because they're putting the work. They're putting the work.
Scams are big here in Latin America too.
There you go. You know, it's because they actually put in the work. They're not really they're not trying to sell a very complicated idea that sounds too futuristic. It's about now. What can you do? What can you get now? And in crypto, we actually have good products already. That what gets people excited. Even the idea of stable coins, the idea of local.bitcoin, and there is a huge spirit of hustle in Africa, because it's kind of like survival of the fittest. Everybody has to fend for themselves kind of attitude. So when people get exposed to these ideas and these products, they are willing to go out and actually get them, get things done. But then you just need to find, actually, the best thing is to find entrepreneurs that are already in business, right? And say, hey, this is something you can actually do to make sure that maybe you get faster transactions, or you able to send money around and pay people around the world, or hire more people outside the world, but also reach out to universities. Tell the students that, hey, if you get familiar with this stuff, you can now get a job online and get paid in Bitcoin, because now you don't have to worry about payment methods, banks, PayPal, and all that stuff. So that's how I would go about it. For someone who wants to build an app, well, now you can go on Gitcoin if you have Ethereum or Bitcoin Cash or whatever. Go on there, hire a developer for you, and you pay them in Bitcoin. So we need to introduce real things that people need, instead of just selling the idea of money. And then even if it's interesting, but if it's not seem to address the problem that they have, then we have a problem.
All right, interesting answer. Thank you, Gray. Kojo, do you have any thoughts on that question about how best to advance Bitcoin Cash adoption in Africa going forward?
I'll keep it simple. Basically, again, information about its value, cross-border, and definitely growing the merchant base for adoption. Those are the two, for me. Those are the two main keys that I see will help it grow. Adoption for liquidity, if I can use it at any point, and definitely for cross-border payments, because then you get to see, you have transparency basically across what's happening in more or less in real time, rather than where you have a transaction that's pending and you don't know where it is, whether it's got to the recipient, and he has to wait for a certain time to get value on it. Whereas with this, straight away he's got it. But then again, if that person, the receiving end, can't again convert it into whether a good or a service, or again the liquidity thing, can't convert it for any type of use, then you're back to square zero. Because I've got it now, but hey, how do I actually pay for whether school fees if the school doesn't accept it, if I'm paying for transportation if the bus doesn't accept it, if I'm in a shop and the shopkeeper says no, you need to go and change it into what X currency that I know of and I like. Those for me are the two main things.
Awesome. Thank you. That's a great answer, Kojo, as well. Kusha, do you want to give us your final thoughts and then we'll wrap up?
Is Terence still on the call? Maybe
no,
he has.
he's
okay.
left.
Yeah, my final call is for education, we maybe talk too much about the, as Grace says, about the philosophical stuff. What we need is education on the use cases, of course, and the use cases are all waiting in line actually to be used. If it's local.bitcoin, if it's the dividend tool, you say entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Especially entrepreneurs can use this dividend tool. A rapper can sell his rapper token, whatever is his name, and then everyone who has this token can now be part of his company. So in 10 years, if he made money, he can pay anonymously without KYC, without anything. Just the guy who has this specific token gets the money from it. So create the Gray token and help us first of all, and give people a few percentage as if they're shareholders. You can do all of this. People this is already there, and it's also not complicated. You don't have to be a coder to do this. You go on a website, and it's use cases like this. And for smaller people who are not even entrepreneurs, but for artists, they have to understand that there are very much a lot of sites where you can use, where you can get tipped, where you can get donations, especially charity, for example. These are the people who would, in my opinion, openly, what reserves, animal reserves, or even nature reserves, charity for people in catastrophe. They need any money they can get, and they will go through even if they cannot buy anything, they will go through the exchange process, because it is money. And then if this is another $5,000 in tips and donations, of course. So we have to reach out with pinpoints. You have to reach out to people, directly, in my opinion, because making videos is one thing, but we have to reach out to the people and then showing them the videos. Because if we do a video and show it and put it on YouTube, and we have 300 views from 200 from the BCH community itself, well, it doesn't help. So this is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Excellent thoughts. So I just want to thank Kojo and Gray, our guests, as well as Terence. If you guys want to give us your links in the live stream group on Telegram, we will put them into the chat and into the video description so that people can find you. Yeah. And so thank you guys so much. Really want to appreciate the perspectives you shared with us today. I think both of you really communicated some interesting ideas. Thanks to my co-host Kusha. I'm George Donnelly. This has been the BCH Ignite live stream. Let's keep building. Thanks again, guys.
Sure, man. Good. Thank you for having us. And for those of you who want to get in touch with me, my YouTube channel is called Hardc0re Crypt0. And yeah, you can find me on all over social media as Greybtc. That's my tag, my username.
And I would also privately like to talk about
we're signing off.
showing. Yeah. Oh, you did
done.
sign off?
Not yet. Make
it
it quick.
Okay. Let's just talk about all of this again in detail, and also show you, Kojo, what actually is there, so that you know and can tell your clients that this is all there for them to use.
All right. So thanks again. All right. We're going to sign off then. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Thank you.